You might be wondering where I am. Did she move? No. I recently turned one room in my grandmother's house into an art studio. So I'm here. I'm gonna put a little lip gloss on. I feel extremely exhausted today. I don't know why. My eyes are tired. Maybe I'll just do the whole. See, I just feel better with these glasses. It makes me feel myself. I think I'm just gonna do this whole thing in my glasses. Anyways, I'm here today to talk to you about my painting, the infamous painting that I have not yet shown for the 13 people who have watched my video. I don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you. I don't even know if you like it. I don't even know. I might be like 4 of those people. I did this video yesterday. And then I realized that my mic wasn't working the entire time. So I'm here right now again, having to redo everything that I've said into this mic because there is a lot of noise. I don't know if you can hear, but there are people stomping upstairs, a lot of traffic outside. So we need the mic to really get personal, you know? So if you watched my last video, you saw that I had an idea to make all my doodles into a painting. Two paintings. Multiple. I am now on my third. I'm working on my third. I started working on it last Thursday. I did like 5 minutes of painting today. I don't know. I'm just not. I feel a little bit in my feels. I'm a little in my feels. I'm a little bit like I don't want to be bothered. But I'm showing up. And we're here. So I'm here to talk about the things that I've noticed and things that I've learned throughout this painting process because it was a fucking ride. It was a roller coaster ride. I am literally not the same person I was 2 weeks ago. Let me tell you that. Really, I wanted to name that blog, Does Anyone Really Like Their Art? Does anyone really like their art? And that was like a big theme for me about 2 weeks ago. Because I like this. I fucking hated everything that I did. I was a fucking mess. Every single time that I went on to the canvas, I would have an existential crisis. I would force way too much. I would nitpick on things that really didn't need to be nitpicked. I was like obsessing and I really wasn't having fun with it. Like things I was like taking it way too seriously. Kind of embarrassing. Like looking back, like I was taking it so seriously. Like what, I'm not doing this for fucking, you know what I mean? Like I'm literally painting in my room for like 5 people to watch. Like it's really not that serious, but I take it so seriously. It's really interesting. I feel like all this pressure to like be really good at it. And I was really trying to make it perfect. Eventually I'm gonna get up. Eventually I'm gonna get up and show you this painting, the final painting. I'm just kind of lazy right now. I want to put her right here. Hello, that's her. That's what I get for waking up in Vegas. Jesus. Anyways, this is the final product. So, the reason I was so down bad about this process was because I had my original doodle. I really loved, I still do love, I love this specific doodle. I find it really cool and I was really excited to recreate it into a painting. And I think I had set a lot of expectations for myself. It's just cooler with the glasses, I think. I had said like I had set very high expectations on how I think I expected it to look, evidently, and I was very soon humbled when it didn't go to my liking. First thing that I did was that I tried way too hard. Okay, so I was like trying to make it perfect from the beginning. I added an extra step for no reason. And if I learned anything in my life, it's work smart, not hard. The more effort I put into things, the less likely I will be happy about it. I don't know, it's really weird. Like, I feel like the more pressure I put into things, and this has always been the case, like with a lot of things, every time I put so much expectation and pressure on things, I really easily get disappointed. Whether it's traveling, whether it's people, whether it's painting, every time I just kind of like, I think it's like the art of detachment. I can get easily attached. I feel like anyone can to stuff, and then I'm just like, is it worth it to feel this way? So draining, you know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that I don't care, but it's just like, am I gonna really put so much energy into this that it's like fleeting? That I'm literally like altering my emotional state for a piece of art. Like to allow something to have that much control over you seems absurd to me. And it was. It was fucking absurd. It was beautiful though, because that creates so much evolution and growth. However, it's not sustainable. If I had to go through that every single time I painted, I would not be painting. Painting for me is a practice that I use to forget about the external world. I want to detach from life. Like, I want to enter another reality. I want to forget about everything that life is, the systematic part of life. And it allows me to remember the feeling, the playfulness. Maybe that life is something further or more expansive than the eye can see. So when I see myself get lost and lose myself in something that is art, especially when it's so subjective that no matter really what I do, as long as I do it with love and some sort of intention, it will be absolutely great. I naturally am inclined to like the things I do more when I try less, like I just said. Anyway, so that was my first point. Actually, no, my first point was that, what was my first point? Let me try memory. My first point was my high expectation. I put so much pressure. And I remember in Sec 5, I did a essay on anxiety and pressure. And I explained pressure like a balloon. The more pressure of air, the more air you put into a balloon, it's likely to pop. So if you keep on putting air in a balloon more than it needs, it will pop. This is like us, me, humans, anything you put pressure on, it's gonna explode. If you like, anyways, you can relate it to any part of that, like any aspect of life. When I put pressure on myself, I am gonna explode. I thrive with no pressure. I don't want pressure. I was always like this. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like deadlines. I don't like pressure of like things need to be done a certain way. I don't like that. And I was doing it to myself. I don't like when other people do it to me, and I don't like when I do it to myself. And that was what was happening. I was putting pressure on myself, unsolicited pressure. It wasn't like a good, I don't really know. Like, I think there's like a natural pressure that comes with feeling like you need to be perfect at everything. There's like this natural pressure. And finding a balance in that is really nice. And then you'll always have that push because you're just always going to put the pressure. Like, if I was someone who didn't give a fuck at all, I would not be painting because I'm doing this for me. There's this inclination, something just, it's like a force that I can't control that just allows me to be here right now. I think one thing I really noticed is how much it changed this whole process from the beginning of what I thought it was to now. It was completely different. And I can put clips of like the trajectory of how the painting came to this, and it has drastically changed. Like in my other paintings, it's more or less the same. You can see the evolution, but like it's nothing really drastic happens. This drastic change has happened. And I went a little crazy. I had like, I think maybe I was trying to get out of my comfort zone. I was doing things that I didn't really know how to do. That was one big thing. I was putting unrealistic pressure on myself because I am not where I wanted to be in the moment, and it like sent me down a spiral. And because I was so attached to an outcome of like how I wanted it, it's like so weird because it wasn't even like how I wanted it to feel. Scratch that. It wasn't even how I wanted it to look. Like, I don't even know what I was like expecting from it. I think that's what like is the most unclarifying thing for me to understand, is that I didn't even have like a vision in my head. I just know that I wanted it to feel like my doodle. Like when I looked at my doodle, it was like fucking cool. Like there was so much detail. I think that's why, because when I'm drawing, I have much more agility with my hands, and I feel like I don't get that sometimes with a paintbrush because it smudges, and like I love the thin markers that I can just draw with, and I can like add so much layers and details in a sketch, whereas in a painting you can do that but in other ways, and I don't think I necessarily have the skill yet to be able to add that much detail. Like even like you can see like my branches here, like I don't know. So yeah, it really changed, and perhaps that is something I wasn't really prepared for. I wasn't ready for this doodle to be a painting of itself, maybe. And I was attaching to what it once was rather than inviting what it could be. And oftentimes, when we don't know, when we don't have a vision, it's like a blank canvas, right? It could go in any possible, it can go in any direction. And so this, when you're surrendering, can be freeing, liberating. It could be really fun. I'm pretty sure the people upstairs are fucking. I'm not sure. See, this is what I would like. I would actually, I don't know how I would feel about living on top of someone like in a plex. Like, you can't really let yourself go. Anyways, I hope you're hearing this right now. They're like, I don't know if she's in pain. What was I saying? Oh yeah, when like it's a blank canvas, right? So this leaves so much room for like exploration, liberation, freedom to kind of allow it to go in any direction if you're able to surrender. In my case, I was not. I was attached to the way that it needed to look exactly like my doodle. And I could have done it in a way that completely exactly replicated it. But my first mistake was to sketch it with a pencil, which I'm not doing because one, it adds an extra step. It took like 3 extra hours than it needed to take. It doesn't like it didn't make a difference for me. It actually made my life so much harder. I painted on top of the pencil and then the pencil marks like they faded because of the paint, because of the oil paint. It's like literally wet paint on like pencil. Obviously, it's gonna fade a little bit, and so I was unable to see a little bit of the detail. And when you're painting, you need to be like, you need to know exactly where you're painting. You need some sort of direction. That was my first, and I think like the biggest mistake, like the first step I did was like the thing that I fucked up the most in, and so like it really set up the the trajectory of this whole painting. And now I love her. Oh my god, they're definitely fucking. Go girl, get her done. Slay. They're either having like crazy sex or they're scrapping. Like I can't tell. I really don't remember what I was saying. I feel such like in a fog. I feel like I'm like high. Or like no, I don't feel like I'm high. I feel like yesterday I did so much drugs and then this morning I woke up like that's how I feel right now. I feel crusty. I don't know why I feel so crusty. Anyways, maybe actually yesterday I did go to bed. I never do this. It's so weird. I went to bed right before I went to bed. I was doom scrolling, and I never haven't done that in such a long time. And maybe that's why. Like, anyways, like you can still see it from the side here. This was like there was an arm here, and like the initial one was that she like there was a whole arm and she was holding a pipe, and then you might be able to still see like there's like smoke coming out of it, and like there was goes into the mountain. There was all this like intrinsic detail, and up at the bottom there was her a reflection of like the underground girl, and there was her, but she wasn't smoking a pipe, and then it led to like the mountains, and like it was just the embodiment of like woman and nature, and it's so beautiful. And honestly, I'm getting so distracted, like they're screaming. I feel like I have to wear like noise cancellation headphones. This is insane. Um, I might actually just like I don't know. I might actually do it honestly. Like this will be a painting of itself, and then I'll actually do it in a way that I've been doing my other ones that I'm very happy about. To be really honest, this one I feel like it's like that when you're starting a new thing to get into a flow. It's very challenging at the beginning to like get the feel. Like I just had an idea. I didn't really think about it. I just dive in. I'm not someone who like gets an idea and needs to like fucking plan every single thing. I'm just like, let me just figure it out as I go. And so this was the the me figuring it out. Yeah, I made a shit ton of mistakes in this one, but now it's kind of like flow after that. You know what I mean? I could have fun with it. And now I have like a formula I learned from this one so much. And so I want to do the original one as like in the way the formula. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, but not to say that I don't love her, but she's just not like the doodle, and I would have liked her to be. But I shouldn't discriminate her. I shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I have a vision. And I think that's okay. But it was really like at the beginning, like I feel like the first draft was like the best. And I honestly like I should have kept it like that. But I don't know. I think I was like attaching to the colors and it wasn't exactly like how I wanted it to be. But anyways. And I don't know if this really comes off as like pessimistic. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just being fucking real with myself, you know? Like it is a beautiful painting and for those who like don't see the image inside my head might think, "Wow, it's really nice." And some people might not like it. I don't know, but maybe I'm also comparing myself during this week. This week that I was doing this, I was fucking comparing myself to so many artists online and I was like, I should be like more skilled. I should. It's always the should. Comparison is literally the thief of joy. Quoted my brother, Nicholas. And perhaps that's exactly why it's tainted. It's because it wasn't a fun experience. If I'm being really fucking honest. I really want to come on here and be like, oh, I want to, but it's not the truth. And I feel more inclined to talk about this rather than to talk about all the good times that I have with my other paintings, because then all the good times are just like, yeah, this was really fun to do. I just let myself go. And that happens. It does. It's happened with my 2 other paintings that I've done, but it didn't happen with this one. But really, there's nothing to say about the good times. Good times, bad times. You know, I have my share. Allowing myself to really let go of the fucks that I give and trying so hard to be a certain painter when clearly I am not that. Maybe I'm not a realistic painter. Maybe I'm me. I don't believe I'm good, but it's why I continue. That's an interesting thought. Because I am this way. I want to be good at everything. Okay? But it's not possible to be good at everything. I'm like, my ego really wants to be like, yeah, it is. You could be the best at everything that you do. But it's, first of all, that is unrealistic and that puts so much pressure. And also, what is the best? What is that term to be the best? There is no best. And not to say I'm not good, but it's okay. And not that I never want to grow in it, but I just believe that it could be like a slow, beautiful growth. Same with like personal development. I used to think that I needed to figure out everything about myself right away within like a year. Before I'm 30, before I'm 25, I need to like be the best version of myself. It doesn't work like that. I'm always gonna have faults. I'm always gonna have aspects of myself that I need to work on, and it's not linear. And I feel like I'm in my embodiment phase where I'm not necessarily learning right now. I don't want to. I feel like this past year has been a lot of information based, drilled information. I'm kind of just like, I don't want to see anything about self development and learning and shit like that. I just want to be. I don't care about fucking anything. I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I'm done. My brain cannot handle any more information. I just want to be. And so this also applies to my art. I don't want to fucking try to like do something perfect. I just want to like get lost in it. I don't want to think. I just want to be like, oh, this would be cute. There is something that always inclines me to come back to painting, to come back to the camera and to talk to you. Even if I get 5 views on a video, there's something that I'm like, I don't care. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe. Or maybe I'm illusional. So this is her. Talk you through. I based the canvas with this like burnt orange. I don't know if you can see the color here. Well, I can get it for you. Ocra rosa. this is what I primed it with. And I essentially did a really thin coat, and it turned out to be just like a beigey red, like a dark, like you can tell this is like darker. Beautiful color. I love this color, and I wanted it to be like this color topped with like bright. Okay, so then I started with the orange, and it was actually like really impressive. Like I loved my brush strokes, but then I had to like continue layering them and darkening them and darkening them, and then I did like a blue sky, and then I lost the base color. Like the base color eventually disappeared into the canvas, and then I started adding layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, and I forgot where I started. I lost my direction, but this was the start. A part of this process is literally just being happy with what I've done and what I've accomplished, and not comparing myself and not attaching to like what it needs to be, because obviously I am a human. I am not a robot, and I am not a fucking machine that can output perfection. I make a lot of mistakes, and I am humbled by them, and I continue to always make mistakes.